Shri Radha Shri Harivansh, Param Pujya Sadgurudev Bhagwan Ki Jai. My name is Ruprashi Sharan, and I'm a disciple of Param Pujya Gurudev. By the mercy of Gurudev, we're attempting this humble service to translate his nectarian words in English so that they may benefit a bigger and wider audience. We seek your blessings for this service and ask for forgiveness for any lapses and mistakes. Shri Harivansh.
राधा वल्लभ श्री हरिवंश। श्री सद्गुरुदेव भगवान के चरणों में कोटि कोटि प्रणाम। पिछले कुछ समय से बहुत सारे भक्तों का आग्रह था कि पूज्य महाराज जी की वाणी जो हिंदी भाषा में ही अभी उपलब्ध है, अगर वो इंग्लिश भाषा में भी, इंग्लिश वॉइस ओवर में भी उपलब्ध हो जाए तो देश विदेश में बहुत सारे भक्त जो पूज्य महाराज जी की इस वाणी का लाभ ले सकते हैं, वो भी लाभान्वित हो सकते हैं। इसी उद्देश्य की पूर्ति के लिए पूज्य महाराज जी की कृपा बल से हम और आप सब इस एकांतिक वार्तालाप का इंग्लिश वॉइस ओवर सुन पा रहे हैं। एकांतिक वार्तालाप का हिंदी वर्जन जो पहले की तरह ही यथावत भजन मार्ग यूट्यूब चैनल पर डल रहा है। डिस्क्रिप्शन में उसका लिंक दिया है, आप वहां से भी उसको देख सकते हैं। श्री हरिवंश।
राजेंद्र प्रसाद यादव जी,
श्री हरिवंश।
गुरुदेव भगवान, millions of obeisances at your lotus feet. I have a doubt in my mind whether we should have faith in our karma or the worshipping the God.
They're both the same. Why are you separating them? Karma is puja. Whatever duty you have been given, you offer to the Lord, it becomes worship. And then on the other hand, if you're doing worship, but if you don't have the proper mood, then the Lord will not accept it. The Lord says,
भाव का भूखा हूं मैं और भाव ही एक सार है, भाव से मुझको भजे तो भव से बेड़ा पार है, भाव बिन सुनी पुकारे मैं कभी सुनता नहीं, भाव पूरित टेर ही करती मुझे लाचार है।
if you're farming, offer it to the Lord. It becomes worship. If you're doing a service, offer it to the Lord. Yat karoshi. The Lord says yat. He didn't say this. He says yat karoshi. Everything. Anything that has been given to you by the dharma, you offer to the Lord. Along with the chanting. With every plow you hit on the ground, chant, offer to the Lord. Anything you're doing in service, offer to the Lord. Remembering the Lord with honesty. Whatever position you have, if you have a business, then with every customer, you think of them as your Lord, keeping a nominal profit, you offer to the Lord. If an emperor can be a great devotee like Amrish Maharaj, then we are just ordinary. We're supporting like maybe 5-10 people of the household. Maharaj Janakji, King Janak, he was a king. And he was the Gurudev of the great devotee, Sukhdev Goswami. But look who he is. He's sitting on the throne. He's a king. So we feel that worship is different and karma is different. But no, the one is who does not think them of separate is the clever one. Whatever you do, Lord instructs. Whatever you do, submit it to the Lord. And then you'll be saved from pious and impious and you'll obtain the Lord. The Lord has said, Sarvani, whatever you do.
भगवान ने कहा ये तो सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि संन्यस्य मत परा, सर्वाणि शब्द का है, जो भी कर्म तुम करो.
But for example, if you think you have to offer something to the Lord, like foodstuffs, then right away you'll think of purity. Oh, no, don't touch that. I have to offer it to the Lord. So if you have to submit any karmas to the Lord, when you talk about that, then that means illicit activities, theft, violence cannot be submitted. We have to submit to the Lord. That means it has to be all auspicious as sanctioned by the Shastras, and that can be offered. Whether you've been given the service of farming or an occupation or a business, the principle is the same for everybody. It'll be considered to be worship of the Lord. Don't do anything sinful. And without bhajan, you cannot have any thoughts which are pure. And if you don't have pure thoughts, then you will not have any activities that will be pure. And because of that, you'll have tension and stress and anxiety, and you'll keep agonizing. Therefore, karma and puja, combine them. They're not separate. For example, if you have time, then we do the arti of the Lord. But if you're plowing in the farm, that's also worship. The Lord instructs that you're a Kshatriya and there is a war sanctioned by dharma. So don't turn your back and fight. Fight. This is going to be your puja. This is what the Lord says. Therefore, karma is puja, is worship, but it has to be as per the shastras.
तस्मात् शास्त्रम प्रमाणन्ते कार्य अकार्यौ व्यवस्थितौ.
As per the shastras. And if you don't understand the shastras because you haven't studied them, then go to a saint. They give you the essence of the shastras in simple language. For example, a mother just gives us very nice delicacies. We just have to eat it. In the same way, the saints have done austerities throughout their life, and then they've given you the essence of the shastras very easily. Just take it and have it easily. Every karma submit to the Lord by your mind, by your body, by your words. Do not give trouble to anybody. Do not cause pain to anybody. Have this kind of mood, and then this will take you to spiritual heights. Do some arti, do some puja for some time, but then after that, don't deceive anybody, don't harm anybody. And then Kapil Dev Maharaj is telling his mother, Devuti, that people were sinful and do my puja, my worship, then it's like doing a havan, a yagya in ashes. Why? Because there's no fire, so it's useless. So if you're doing puja here, but on the other side, you're treating other people badly and deceiving them, then the Lord will not accept it. Therefore, do not harm anybody, do not hurt anybody. So, but somebody might say, well, do not hurt anybody, but then what about war? But, well, I ask you, are you a Kshatriya? Are you of the warrior class? Do you have war in front of you? No, people try and take things out of context and combine them. But no, you have to keep things in context, and then you won't have a question. The questions will not arise. But if you try to combine different things that were given different contexts, then it will not work. So try and understand. For example, in the Mahabharata, the Lord himself had sent many ambassadors to try and establish peace, and then he went himself as well. But then they said that they will not even give an inch of land. Then the war was sanctioned as per dharmas. So you have to understand that we don't have to hurt anybody.
जैसे हम कह रहे किसी को दुख नहीं देना, तो इस समय वर्तमान की स्थिति में
But we're talking about this current situation. Well, just the previous person who came and asked, he was from the army. If he asked me those questions, it will be completely different. No, I will tell him that if somebody comes in front of you, then immediately you fire at him, you attack him and kill him, because they might attack the country. They might harm the residents of the country. So based on the person and the circumstance, that's how the decision is made. It's not just generally made for everybody, depending on what your age is, what your position is, what your karma is, what your state is. So somebody sitting afar might try and just understand this, but no, if you have a specific question, you have to come in front of us, because when you come here, then our sight is on you. The environment here is spiritual. When you're outside, you're just listening. The energy is not there, so you might have some doubts. Do you understand? Any doubts?
Pradeep Mishra ji. Maharaji, my mind is very disturbed by thinking that in this ocean of material world, no one is really mine.
Well, this anxiety that you have, you should understand that if you get satsang, then even as a householder, you can obtain the Lord. We have experienced this, that we understood that if you get the association of saints who are God realized, then this hardship of life has been very difficult. It is very difficult to tolerate. It's very difficult to be a saint in these days. Well, you see, like now these days, people surrounded a saint and killed him. Where did this happen? Right. So just think about it. You're a human, and you could have just captured the person if you suspected him, get information from him, give him to the authorities. But then how, like animals, you surrounded him and killed him? But this is society. That shows the society has changed. Now you're young, and then you go anywhere, people will ask for your Aadhaar card, your identity card. So this is not the time to be in the renounced order. Look at the saints we have here. They have a very, controlled life, and they're provided for. So I'm satisfied. But now to live on the banks of the Yamuna is not possible. And the feelings that people have towards a saint because of series, movies, it's been spoiled. And there have been some people by which the reputation of the saints was destroyed. It was turn to dust. But because of the kripa, mercy of the Lord, there will be some saplings that will arise again from the dust. So, what I think is that you should remain at home, serve your parents, and this fire inside you have for obtaining the Lord, keep it protected. And then to do bhajan, you don't have to do any external conversion of changing your clothes, or you have to protect what's inside. And these are just thoughts of the mind. They can change from one day to the other. So now, if you become a Babaji, a saint, and then you have these desires again and you fall down, what's the point? What's the point of living a life of hypocrisy? So it's better to just live in the house, in a household, and live an approved life where you can do sense gratification as sanctioned by the Shastras. Otherwise, you live as a saint and you engage in these things. You're young now today. You have thoughts of being a round souter. Tomorrow you might be in a householder. So again, stay in the household and mature this feeling, mature this thought. Bhajan in the renounced order is very difficult. It's like you're challenging the lust, anger, greed, like openly. So protect this fire that you have inside of you, but don't do anything externally, like to become of the renounced order. And also, they're also not everybody is true out there. So if you don't end up in the right place under right guidance, then this fire inside of you might just be extinguished. So this is not a plaything. So I tell you, better you say protect it in the house, do hard work, serve your parents, and practice doing bhajan, devotional practice. This would make for a good devotional practice. Look at in Maharashtra, there was a devotee by the name of Pundarik, and he used to serve his parents like their god. He would work day and night, and he would serve his parents like their god. So the Lord himself was pleased, and he appeared, and he was serving his parents. And from behind, the Lord called out to him, I'm very pleased with you. So take darshan of me. And he said, who is this? Then he just gave a brick and asked the Lord, stand on this brick and wait. And then when I'm done with my service, then I'll meet with you. This is how Vittal Bhagwan, and he's standing with his arms on his waist, Lord Vittala. So this is just the Lord showing that how if you serve your parents in the mood of the Lord, it can become bhajan. So unless you get the right guide, it's very easy to fall down. Today you have this desire for being renounced, but when you become in the renounced order, the mind might turn and take you in the opposite direction. So, and then to be able to survive, and this agony that you would have in the renounced order can only happen by the mercy of the Guru. This Babagiri, becoming a renounced order, is not easy. In reality, there might be others who are just making a show of it. That can happen only in the cinema and the dramas on stage as well. Like, when somebody gets a role in the movie for 2 hours as a great saint, he appears like a real saint, right? If he does a role of a Brahm Rishi, then he would look like a Brahm Rishi. He's not, but if for 2 hours he's doing that role. So doing this drama, doing an act is a different thing, but to actually follow it in reality, it's a very difficult path. You need a lot of patience and tolerance. What people do is people desire fame and honor in the material world, but on this path, honor is considered to be poison. So stay at home. Don't make any foolish steps, and just consider everybody to be your Lord, and serve them. Don't run away. Don't leave your studies, because today's time is not conducive. When I used to walk around the Ganges, we would meet these saints, and they'd be so elevated that just seeing them, you'd be nourished like having ghee, and they would encourage you. But now, today is a day of the mobile. Like in this small mobile, you have the entire world, and the mind is not fixed. So your mind will not be focused on chanting, but on the mobile, social media, etc. Do you think you'll become accomplished this way? You have to be focused and focus your mind on the Lord. But will you be able to do that in today's world? I don't even know how to operate the mobile. I've never had the mobile. because I didn't come here to focus my mind on the world. I came here to focus my mind on the Lord. But now today, like social media games. So previously on their chest, saints used to wear the lockets of pictures of their saints, of their Lord. But today now people put their mobile, like with a lot of love. They can forget everything, but not the mobile. That should stay close. Why? Because the entire world is in there. Now, if you're renounced, all the renounced people want to focus their mind on the Lord, but maybe they're not able to do it, but they endeavor to it. They've given everything else and they've left their house to do this. But now they have this mobile and the entire world is in here, all the entertainment. So, how difficult is it? So, let's not spoil your life. Do not take the renounced order. Stay in the household, get married, and pray to the Lord to give you a wife who will support you on the spiritual path. We have a lot of householders that have taken a vow to be celibate with a vow. So whatever's happened has happened, but from now on, they've taken a vow of celibacy. How amazing this is. You know, we in the renounced order are scared of these things, but they're staying in the same room and they are following celibacy. So aren't they greater than us? Tell us truthfully. The things that we were afraid of, they're living with that and still following the principles. You know, those days of, becoming renounced and wearing these clothes made of tree bark, it's not the time for that. Do you understand?
Poonamji and Nitinji from Gurugram.
Shri Harivansh Maharaj.
Shri Harivansh Maharaji. Radhe Radhe. Maharaji, by the mercy of Shriji, we have been listening to your satsang for the past 8 months. And it feels like the mind is accepting the truth that you are preaching. But when we start household activities and office work, then it again starts to feel that this world is true, even though the world is false, and it becomes difficult to get back to the devotional mood. Please guide us, Maharaji.
Practice. See, practice. The Lord has said,
अभ्यास योग युक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना.
if we again and again tell the mind wherever it goes, wherever, person, place, or thing, wherever it goes, that when the world was not there, only Sri Bhagwan God was here. When the world will not be here, only God will remain. And in the middle, only God is here. Understand this for sure. The difference you see between man, woman, non-moving, moving, good and bad is an illusion of Maya. Therefore, wherever our mind goes, the first technique is that we tell it that this is only my Lord. This will become Bhajan. Because when the mind goes, it goes in a person, place, or thing, a circumstance, or an incident in this, right? But these are just external things viewed from a material vision. Internally, the Tattva is Sri Bhagwan, God. He is the Atma Tattva, the soul. To conquer the mind, there's only 2 techniques. The first is, wherever the mind goes, see your Lord there.
सर्वान्वस्तुतया निरीक्ष परम स्वाराध्य बुद्धिर्मम.
In all my places, in all forms, my Lord is present. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahm. This is the first technique. Then this will become bhajan. Our thinking happens only in 2 ways, likes and dislikes. If something is favorable, we like it. If something is unfavorable, we dislike it. We just keep agonizing over this in happiness and sadness. But if you want eternal peace and happiness, want to be liberated, then wherever person, place, or thing the mind goes, just see your Lord there. If you're unable to do this, then the second technique is wherever your mind goes, pull it back from there. The mind has a particular nature. If you feel your mind has wandered, then imagery will come back. For example, if you're chanting, then it will just come back to the chanting. But again, when you want to focus on your name, chanting, it will again slip away. So again and again, wherever the mind goes, pull it back towards your goal, or wherever the mind goes, see your Lord there. So by these 2 practices, our mind slowly. See, previously you were not doing bhajan at all, and now the mind is focusing for a few minutes, and now you will not be able to tolerate your mistake because you think that when the mind is focused, it's so nice. Life after life, the mind was so materialistic, but now it's finally getting better. The intelligence has 2 instincts, good and bad. Similarly, the mind is 2. truth and untruth. See, now the truth part is getting stronger because the mind is helping you catch the mistake. That means your medicine is working. And eventually, the mind will get fully situated in God. You should not worry about it because the mind is God itself. Indriyanam manas chashmi. When it has gone along with bad instincts, it has become dirtied. To purify it, the name of the Lord, His pastimes, the association of devotees, so the treatment is underway. We should not be distracted. Then, if you do abhyas yoga, practice yoga, then over time our mind will not go anywhere. The mind goes up to the point it does not receive happiness. It does not get happiness, that's why it's looking externally. Nij sukh bini mani hoi katira. Now, externally, we have not been able to satisfy it with any happiness. See for yourself. We've had many lives, or even in this life. Is there any happiness after obtaining which you said, Ab kuch na chahi more? That I don't want anything else? No. That means the happiness is not here. What you're looking for is Atma Sukh, Bhagavad Sukh, or spiritual happiness. The mind becomes very peaceful. Therefore, do not worry, just chant the name, keep listening to Satsang, and do good activities. Wherever the mind goes, pull it back to the name, beauty, or passions of the Lord, or to see the Lord right there. This will strengthen our bhajan. And what does that mean? That our thoughts of the external material world will go away. All our activities will remain the same, but they will be nishkam, with no expectations, and all karmas will be for the Lord. A one in knowledge does not consider himself to be the doer. Gunagun vartante manushchaya parth sarvasa. You will understand that later, but for now, know you're moving in the right direction. Don't get distracted. This is a little dirkal nerantar satkar sevito dirbhumi. Patanjali is saying, for a long time, keep practicing with respect. Then your heart will develop faith. Faith meaning when your heart beats, you're not the one doing that. And when you breathe, you're not the one doing that. When you blink your eyes, you're not the one doing that. They happen naturally. Similarly, your bhajan will start to happen naturally one day. A day will come when you will not have to do it. It will just happen. This will be joyful. Like Maraj is dancing with joy and saying, Payo ji payo, maine Ram Ratan Dhan payo, Vastu Amolak di mere Sadguru. When did you understand this? That what your Guru has given you? When your bhajan was happening on its own. All your sins got burned and you felt bliss, which made you dance. Miraji saying, Payo ji payo, maine Ram Ram Ratan Dhan payo. Vastu Amolak di mere Sadguru. Nishtin baro savayo. The joy is increasing day and night. This joy will take us to the spiritual bliss. We are distracted by sense gratification, but those people who have taken this path are very fortunate, moving away from sense gratification to a spiritual bliss. Otherwise, the attraction is so strong that people feel like this is it in life. Drink this, eat this, enjoy this, and then die. A human life has been given to obtain God, yes. Without taking the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, you cannot obtain any happiness. See for yourself. There is no happiness here. Is there like the mind which is peaceful? No, it's not here. Every moment, desires, tension, remorse, you have everything, but you still have fear. Look inside. You're so externally focused that you don't look inside. Inside, it's all filled with garbage, with worthless things. If you remove these worthless things, then you will experience permanent spiritual bliss, which is your true self.
Mahesh Kumar Sharma ji from Rajasthan.
Radha Vallabh Shri Harivansh, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Maharaji, obeisances at your lotus feet. Maharaji, for a householder who is a devotee, what is the process for worshipping the Lord?
Every activity, every duty, every breath should be the worship. Every person should be worshipable. Do you understand? To obtain the Lord, you don't have to do anything separately for a householder. You wake up in the morning, the Lord, and then do your duty. See, like to sit down with your mala, with your beads, and to chant. We try and do that because the mind has been engrossed in so many activities for countless wives. But then, if you're sweeping the floor, you're a farmer, just do Radha Radha, you're a businessman, just do Radha Radha. And then we're not trying to cheat anybody, we're not trying to give anybody trouble. And any service that we're doing, we just submit it to the Lord and we chant the name of the Lord. Then, whatever you're doing, that will become a means for you to obtain the Lord. Most respected, Shri Raidas Ji, have you heard of his biography? He used to do his service as per his family tradition. You can see in his biography, but he used to just do chant the name and the service. And he would offer his service to the Lord. He became such a great personality that accomplished devotees, huge devotees, would not be able to stand in front of him. One time, Gorakhnathji, accomplished saint, came in front of him, and he came and he welcomed me and he sat him down. And then from his wooden bowl that he used for his washing his leather, he just gave some water from that. And Gorakhnathji thought that from this wooden bowl used for cleaning, then he went to another saint, Kabir Das, who had a daughter who had been created miraculously, not by material means. Kamalia was her name. And he told her that, look, I went to Raidas Ji and he gave me some water from his wooden bowl in my kamandal, in my begging bowl. Please go wash it. So she just took it and she just drank it. And then she got married, and then she was married to another town. Then Gorakhnath happened to go to that town after some time, and then he was such a saint, like with such power, that he would tell people, try and fill my begging bowl with grain, and it would never get filled. Everybody was amazed. Then some people of the town from her family told her about this. So she said, let me deal with it. She goes there with just a handful of grain in her hand, puts in his begging bowl, and it overflows with grain. And then he asked her, how did you get this siddhi, this power? And she said, well, you remember that water you gave me from the wooden bowl of Raidaji? From that. Yes, just by doing his service and submitting it to the Lord, he obtained such potency that the Lord himself was present in his house. Like, for example, people keep Gopal, like the saints of Kashi went and complained to the king that he doesn't have a right to worship because the way he's worshipping, if he does this, then there will be drought in the kingdom. Well, the king listens to the learned folks. This is in his biography in a book called Bhaktmal that has a biographies of saints. So the king called him and said, well, these learned people are complaining like this. He said, well, that's fine. Why don't you ask the Lord himself? Like, does he want me to serve him or not? Well, then the king says, how will you find out? Well, you keep his asana, you keep his throne somewhere, and then these pundits can call the Lord by their mantras, and I'll just call him, and then let's just see where the Lord goes. And if he goes to me, then I can serve him. So then the other people thought, how will the Lord, he's a statue, how will he walk, a vigraha? But for a devotee, he is the Lord himself. So these learned people called the Lord by the Vedic mantras, and him, he called with his tears of love that if you love me, please come. And then the Lord came with his throne. So the Brahmanas, these learned people, thought that, oh, this must be some black magic. He must have done some black magic on his own Thakurji. So he goes, okay, we'll bring our own Vigraha, our own Krishna, and then we'll see what happens. Again, he called out with love, and again the Lord came. So what I'm trying to tell you is that whatever karma you're doing, if you submit them to the Lord and you chant the name and you don't do any activity that's going to hurt people, then what great saints accomplish, you will obtain that as a householder. Well, it is difficult to chant while doing your householder work. It's very difficult, I agree. Sitting in quiet and just chanting the name, it still gives you so much difficulty, but doing the work and then chanting, But if you practice, then, can you imagine you can do a war while remembering the Lord? Krishna says that himself. Then there is no work difficult than the war. That means that we can do work while chanting. So while chanting, we can chant Radha, Radha, Radha. And whatever we do, we just submit it to the Lord, and that would please the Lord. So I think that if you don't have time, you should not sit down separately for worshiping the Lord. Whatever work you're doing can be submitted to the Lord, because the whole world is of the Lord and He's given you a right to do a certain kind of service. You just do that and you offer it to the Lord. Otherwise, your life will get divided into two parts, a materialistic part and a spiritual part. But you're so tied up in the materialistic part that you will not be able to separately do puja, sit down in the lotus position and do meditation. No, you cannot do that. So the women and the mothers and sisters, they can, they're cooking, they can chant Radha Radha. You're in the business, you can chant Radha Radha. So all day you go and do service. And then when you go back, just say, I wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock. Now it's 5 p.m. in the evening. Whatever karma I did, I submit it to you. And if I made any mistakes, please inspire me so that I don't make those mistakes again. And may this become your bhajan, and may this become a source of your pleasure. Well, you'll be able to obtain the Lord this way. Obtaining the Lord is not difficult. You just have to simplify yourself. But if you're cheating, you're deceptive, you're doing bad activities, then how will you obtain the Lord? So do good, and then the Lord will be pleased. And whatever you do, offer it to the Lord, and you will be able to obtain the Lord for sure.
Surviji from Tikamgarh.
Radheshyam Maharaji.
Radheshyam Maharaji. Maharaji, the essence of her question is that she considers Radharani to be her friend, but she feels the parental mood with Krishna in the child form.
See, the thing is that our mood has just begun. Have not accomplished it. We have the freedom. We can consider him to be our friend, our son, Vatsale Bhav, parental mood. Our beloved, our master. The Lord has given us this freedom, but we should connect with him with the mood, like the gopis considered him to be the beloved. Yashoda Maya considered him to be her son. The Sakhas considered him to be their friend, and other devotees consider him to be the guru of the world. And so many devotees consider him to be their disciple, like Sandeepni Muni, Vishwamitra. Our Lord is so merciful that whatever bhav, whatever mood you do, He reciprocates in that form. So you just connect with Him, and then the Lord will show you which mood you should connect with Him. Now, once that bhav, that mood is fully developed, then nobody will be able to sway you or dissuade you from worshipping Him in that mood. So right now you've just started. You have a question, but the question is not resolved. So whatever bhav you have, in whoever bhav you have, then at least you move away from the material world and you're looking at the Lord in a spiritual mood. So this is a good start.
वो जाने अपने को अभी शुरुआत करनी.
Consider Krishna as your child and consider as your Radharani, as your friend. That's okay. At least you've started on the path of Sat, the truth, and moved away from the material world, which is Asat. You should not get troubled that how can Radharani be my friend and Krishna be my son? No, don't be worried about that. Just walk on this path with this mood. But when the Lord gives you the mood, see, right now, we are expressing this mood, but when he accepts it, then nobody will be able to change that. For example, in front of Yashoda Maya, Lala showed his opulence. He was drinking milk and he kept drinking and drinking, and Yashoda Maya thought, he's such a small child with such a small stomach, how can he drink so much? He might get indigestion. So she scolded him. He opened his mouth and he could see the entire universe in it. But she just said, oh no, these might be my unfortunate, my useless eyes. And she ignored. So Krishna tried to show his opulence, but did not affect Yashoda Maya. That is an accomplished mood, an accomplished bhav. Nobody can change it. So when the Lord accepts your bhav, then nobody will be able to change it. And the Lord is so merciful that He can become your child, He can become your father, become your mother.
तुमेव माता च पिता तुमेव, तुमेव बंधुश्च सखा तुमेव, तुमेव विद्या द्रविणं तुमेव, तुमेव सर्वम मम दे दे.
He can become everything for us. Whatever we want him to become, he becomes. There is no doubt about that.
On the doctor recommendations, I had to get an abortion. I'm a sinner. Doing illicit activities, my karma will lead me to become a ghost. How can I obtain Radharani Maharaji?
Well, you are from Nandgaon. You're an associate of the Lord. Recognize your Swarup, your spiritual self. You're a friend of Shri Krishna. You have committed the sin. If you have wealth, you can get a learned Pandit who can recite Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of it in Sanskrit. Call him home. Then in 7 days, he will recite it 4 to 5 hours a day. By this recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, your sin will be eliminated. Srimad Bhagavatam is all capable. Dhundkari was a ghost, and just by listening to Bhagavat, he became an associate of Hari. A divine plane came to get him and took him to the abode of the Lord. So listen to Srimad Bhagavatam and don't commit this mistake again. You're an associate of the Lord. You are in his birthplace, in his place of play pastimes. See, in household life, sometimes these mistakes can be committed unknowingly. For example, the doctor says his brain is damaged, get him aborted. Well, do you think he's a vegetable? Even if he's born brain damaged, then by serving him, you would have been liberated. You would have been liberated from your own karma, because this was a combination of your karma and that child's karma in the formation of child and parent. You should not destroy him. People might say, well, he'll be born with very weak limbs, etc. You should say it's okay, we will serve him. Abortion is a huge sin, and because of these sins, our heart keeps burning. And if you have any children down the road, then those children would be one that would abuse you down the road and cause you agony, because you have to deal with the reactions of your karma. And this would just be the interest of your karma. After your death, you will have to face the real repercussions of those karmas. People think of it like child's play these days. In the past, we had heard that, if somebody had a girl in the womb, they would do this. By doing this, you're disrespecting the goddess Shakti. Who were you born from? From whom? Your mother was also in a woman's body. So killing a girl child is huge ignorance. Look at the president of our country today. She's a female, right? People consider girls to be a burden, that when they grow up and have to get them married, have to give dowry. See, in our country today, this woman is someone's daughter and she is the president of the country. Don't take this lightly. A girl is a representation of the Shakti, the energy of the goddess. Okay, you think I will have to give dowry, but then if you have a son, if you have to get him married, and if there's no girls around, then what will you do? So keep your son at home. Just because you had a son, do you think you're great? If you had a girl, you think you're small? It's a father's greatness that he gives what he has earned, what he has collected in his life to his daughter. You should be respectful. You should offer your respects to that father. He's giving you a daughter that will help you to carry on your family, future generations. What's the difference between a son and a daughter? Just some bodily symbols are different. And just because you have a son, you think you can talk down to the girl's family? I want so much dowry. This is such foolishness that we can demand this from the girl's family. How did we all appear? From the wombs of mother. Females. The mother was somebody's daughter.
माँ कौन थी? किसी की बेटी ही तो थी.
Our intelligence has become so maligned, so demonic. You don't have the right to kill a child in the womb in any condition. The sentiment these days is a very low mentality. Then people ask, what should we do? The population will increase greatly. Well, then you should have control on yourself. Live with control and regulations. Is it necessary you have to do these dirty actions? You have to commit these sinful actions? Stay in regulation? Stay celibate, brahmachari? See, in our tradition, people were brahmachari for 10,000 years, and then when they had children like Garudev and Arun. This can happen when you remain a brahmachari and then you have a child. There have been people that came to us and they said, the doctor told us the child has a weak brain, get rid of him. And we removed it. That doctor will go to hell, and so will the mother and father. Do you consider the child to be a vegetable? He is a Jeev Atma. Let him come. Serve him. Your karma will be purified. and by living, he will also burn his karma. So let him come. He will have to deal with his karma, and by serving him, being in a difficult situation, you will also burn your sinful karmas. This will become a path to get liberated. Now, if you get the child killed, what kind of Maya is this? A mother, if she sees her child in the courtyard and somebody slaps him, she would run to save him. And then this child is in your womb and you're destroying the child? What kind of a mother are you? How could you kill this child who is dependent on you in your womb? That's why I say the intelligence these days is so corrupted. So listen to Satsang. Maybe you don't want liberation or the love of God, but at least to live like humans. Listen to Satsang. Do some bhajans to live like a pure human, like a good person, and your intelligence will be purified. See, you've appeared in such a holy place. So I request all householders, do not commit the sin of abortion. If a child's life has run out, it will run out on its own. Don't take the sin of killing a child on your head. It will happen naturally if it's meant to be. Whenever somebody is meant to die, they will die on their own. Why do you have to get involved in that, become an instrument, and take that sin on your head? You have been given a human body to walk on the path of spirituality. Otherwise, none of this wealth, any sense objects will not be able to satisfy you. You will always be facing these obstacles that you will not be able to overcome because you've committed a great sin. So be very careful, but you have an opportunity. You can atone for this sin. Srimad Bhagavatam is all potent. I'm not saying this that you go and commit a mistake and then you get a recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam done. No, in this situation, the mistake has already been committed. Now you can atone for this. Those who are listening to this, never commit this sin and stay in control. It is not necessary that you lose control and then you get an abortion done. Be very, very careful.